Hi there. I'd like us to try this example here. Here's just one of the tables that are defined here. So I saw this thread posted there. I was like, yeah, why not try it with the SithasoDaisy LowCode and see how far we can go, even if it means we just take one of the tables that are defined here. So I went through and read the ChatGPT and all sorts of things, and I came across this particular class definition for the various tables that can be used, like suppliers and products. So I said to myself, well, let's try it out with SithasoDaisy5 LowCode. So I'm going to go through to the GitHub for the tool, and then I'm going to start the tool. The tool is available and free for everyone to use. It generates code for Banana that gets transferred to JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So let's do this. Let's create a new project. Just going to make this to be 80. Okay, it's fine. Let's create a new project. Call it inventory. Inventory. Database type. We'll use IndexedDB, Banana SQL. So it's Web SQL here. And then we call this inventory. Okay. This is just for demonstration because I haven't added the other database adapters here. So a project now exists. What we need to do is to create the tables. So as we saw from ChatGPT here, there's two tables, products and suppliers. Okay, let's start with the products. Let's create a table called products. Products. A single product is called a product. Multiple products are called products. So this will have an alpha chooser and a column chooser. It is a table and a model. Okay, then we select apply. So the next thing that we need to do is to create the various fields. Okay, so let's do that. Let's open the table, go to fields. We're going to add multiple fields. So we have ID, we have name, we have description, we have price, we have quantity, stock, QTY. We have what else missing? ID name, we need an SKU. SKU is here. ID name, SKU, description, price, stock, QTY, and then created at. And then we have created at. Let's add updated at. Okay, so we click apply. So these are the fields that are going to be in our form. Okay, let's do a preview of what we have done so far, because as you can see here, we have the various rows and the various columns. So if we go to preview, we want to preview our application. Let's go to preview. And then these are the columns that will show on our table. And then we click on add. So this is how our table looks like at this particular moment. So we might decide that we want to make it look a little bit nice with grids and rows and some required information here. But currently this is our design. So let's do this. Let's go back to the table and then just change a few things. Visible, required. We're going to also need column type so that we just define how our columns should appear or whether they should appear or not in our table. Okay, ID, depending whether we want to show the ID or not. For this exercise, I'm not going to show it on the table, so I'm going to say none here. Also, I don't want this to be visible on the form, so I'll just hide it. And then what I need to do, the name of the product, just change the title to be proper case. Okay, it's a text box, and then it's going to be normal, which means that it will show on the table, but it's required. On the table, I mean the listing here. So For example, if we go into this now, name the ID column is hidden. And then if we go there, the ID is hidden now, but it's required because we said it's required. Okay. Okay, let's do our design and see how things will look like as soon as we complete SKU. Okay, let's put this on row 1. Let's put this one on row 2 because this one will be hidden, so it's fine. Conserve some space. Description. Let's perhaps make this to be long text so that if we port our database over to MySQL, then it can be considered to be that long text in case it's long. Let's put it on 3 to 1 and it's required. And we also say the SKU is required. But now we don't want the description to show on the table listing. So we say column type and we say none here because we don't want it to show. Okay, on the table listing, table listing is like this. So the price, as it was indicated there, is going to be a double. Let's make it a double. So text box, let's put it on 4, 1. Okay, it's also required. And then stock quantity, stock QTY. Okay, this is an integer. Okay, let's make it on row 4 2, which basically means it's going to be on the same row as the price, but the price is going to be on the left side and this one on the right side, so it's also required. So if you go and look at our design now, let's do our design. We have name, SKU, price, and then stock quantity. And then when we click add in our application, when you run it, it's going to name SKU, description, price, and stock quantity. Now we have created it and updated it, so we need to develop to define those ones. So created at, these are usually automatically created fields when you are updating the database. So which basically means that you'll have to write some code in relation to our tool here. So this is 5. Let's put them on the same row. It's 5 and 2. Created at will be required, basically meaning that it needs to be specified. So all of these are visible except the ID, and then the description column type is none because we don't want it to show on the table. And then the created at, we can say the column visibility, it's column visibility, we can say these ones are hidden. So it basically means that when the application runs, it's columns that you can toggle on and off, or else we can also just say the long text here is normal, but then it's hidden when the application is running, and then you can toggle it to show. Okay, so this is how we've designed our application. The ID will not show in the column listing, and then the rest of these things will show. So let's do this. Let's preview. So you have a name, SKU, price, stock quantity, and then you'll have your edit, delete, clone for your records. And then when you do your add, this is how the model will show. Okay. All right. Cool. And then when you can save our records. Now, let's say that you want to make this to be shown on the sidebar. So what you need to do is just go there and say sidebar, and then you say model card. And then as a result, it's no longer going to show as a model. It's just going to slide from the right. So this is name, SKU, description, price, stock, created it and updated it, then you can see, as you can see here, each item is put like a grid because this one is next to each other, you know, just like the grid that was in the model. But if you decide to use a preference dialog, use preferences. So what will happen is items will be underneath each other. So let's do this. Let's go there. As you can see now, the design has changed. Items are underneath each other because this is following a preference dialog type approach. And for example, the labels are on the left here now. Yeah. Now let's change it also maybe to say you want to use the bottom drawer. Let's do that. Let's say you want to use the bottom drawer. You change this to use model card, and then you say use bottom drawer. And then if you do this, then you preview how your application will look like. Then the product screen will be coming from the bottom, and then you'll have that. So creating the rest of the other screens will follow the similar approach. But of course, I mean, as indicated and as shown in the address book when we were doing it, you generate your code by going there, and then there's your code, and then you follow the templates in relation to how to create your application. But the code is here to save your records. For example, this one here reads the information from your input controls and then saves it to a database table. Clicking add on the table, it switches to add mode, where you just show you the bottom drawer now, because what we have decided on is that our application will be using a bottom drawer where things will be showing like this. So there's quite a lot of options that you have here, for example. And our design, of course, for now is just limited to the IndexedDB banana SQL. So we can use Bucket-based, we can use MySQL with the REST API, with a built-in REST API. But I'll show you in relation to some of these things as we go along. But this was just based on this particular thread post here today, and I just decided, let me try it out and see what's happening here, and then what we can achieve, and also just to show in terms of if we were using SithasoDaisy5, how would we go about creating this particular project? You know, of course, I mean, this is slower than ChatGPT in a sense, because some of the things you need to still to do yourself and all sorts of other things. But as you will note, I mean, when you're using artificial intelligence tools at this particular moment, there's quite a lot of prompting that you need to do for it to meet your required specifications. And just like how Aeric was indicating in the test post, you could do this thing is hallucinating and all sorts of other things and all sorts of other things. But well, we just thought let's play around and see how we could address this particular challenge if we were deciding to do it with SithasoDaisy5 and using our low code tool here. So yeah, that's it. All the best.